President Mahinda Rajapaksa was able to achieve the war victory even before his first tenure ended. Immediately after the conclusion of the war, the president pledged to wage war against corruption and fraud and promised to root it out of the country. On the 12th of this month, the president, who attended a function in Kandy, stated that the support of the public is needed to root out corruption. Fraud and corruption have a direct impact on society when it involves the use of public property. The general public, excluding those who engage in corrupt activities and those who indirectly benefit from such activities, cannot be tagged as those who support corruption. However, the majority of the public who do not support corruption only express a silent protest against it. One of the reasons as to why the general public do not openly criticize and condemn corruption is because such criticisms have a way of coming back to haunt them in the form of acts of revenge. A perfect example of such an incident was reported from the National Blood Transfusion Center, where a minor staff employee was transferred on 15 occasions within a span of 4 months, merely for speaking out against corrupt activities at the National Blood Transfusion Center. This individual also lost 2 years' worth of annual increments as a result of speaking out against corruption. Even though 16 months have lapsed since the Supreme Court ordered officials to pay the salary increments, officials have yet to fulfill this ruling. Questions have begun to arise whether the acts of revenge are common in the health department following the decisions taken by the Director General of Health Services, who is remaining in his post as a 1-month service extension based on a contract against 2 trade union leaders and 5 other individuals. The rights of the Government Midwifery Service Association, which spearheaded protests against the current Director General of Health Services, urging authorities to act based on the reports compiled by the Auditor General Department's investigations, has been stripped of its rights as a trade union movement. The Deputy General Secretary of the trade union worked full-time for the trade union as she was exempted from general duties. However, the Director General of Health Services has ordered the said Deputy General Secretary to report to work once again, citing that her exemption has been annulled. Through this order, the Director General of Health Services has disregarded the recommendations of the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Public Administration, as well as the recommendations of the Presidential Secretariat. This letter was issued to 4 members of the Government Medical Laboratory Technologies Association, recently approving their transfers. However, 4 days later, the Director General of Health Services took steps to arbitrarily cancel these transfers. Incidentally, these 4 individuals were among those who vocally called for action to be taken against the Director General of Health Services. The treasurer of the said association is also among the group. When extending the services of the Director General of Health Services for a month through a contract, did health officials grant him the power to carry out acts of revenge against individuals who stepped up against corruption? Secretary to the Ministry of Health, this is over to you.
The Federation of Environmental Organizations of Sri Lanka was launched this morning in Colombo. The agency was launched with the aim of steering environmental conservation and sustainable development.
The forum is also aimed at ensuring that Sri Lanka's natural resources will be conserved for future generations, responding to destruction that is caused to the environment, and creating awareness amongst the public on threats to the environment are some of the aims of the organization.
We need to have an understanding with whom we have to fight and the direction that we need to forge ahead. It is us who will have to face the issues unless we collect this data correctly. You cannot do what was done in the 60s and 70s. We need to change and we need to be tactful and we need to be careful as well. We have issues pertaining to these development plans. A question has arisen as to whether many of these development projects are sustainable. This is because we see that we have entered to a development path that destroys forest and natural resources.
The annual festival of the Sri Kailasantara Kovil in Captain Gardens, Colombo will commence on Monday. The festivities will commence with the flag hoisting ceremony that will be held on Monday morning. Special pujas were organized today in this regard. The Ther festival will be held on the 2nd of September, while the festivities will conclude with the water cutting ceremony that will be held on the 3rd of next month. Starting off with some rugby news, the Havelock Sports Club beat Kandy Sports Club 50 points to 19 at the Havelock's grounds today in the Inter-Club A Division Rugby Tournament. Today's win helped the Havelocks to remain at the top of the points table among the 4 teams playing for the Cup Championship.
Havelock SC dominated the first half by scoring 26 points while Kandy SC managed only 5. The hosts scored another 26 points in the second half, taking their full-time score to 50 points, while Kandy SC managed only 14 points. Thereby, Havelock SC won the match 50 points to 19. The top 4 teams in the Inter-Club A Division Rugby Tournament will be contesting for the Cup Championship. The 4 teams contesting for the Cup Championship are Havelock SC, Kandy SC, Navy SC and the Upcountry Lions.
Now, Sri Lanka Navy beat defending champion Sri Lanka Army in the finals of the FA Cup played at the Jayatilaka grounds in Avalapitiya today. Sri Lanka Army took the lead in the first half by a goal to nil. However, Sri Lanka Navy scored the equalizer in the second half, forcing a penalty shootout to decide the winner. Sri Lanka Navy converted 4 of their spot kicks, while Sri Lanka Army managed to score only 3, handing the sailors the win by 4 goals to 3 on penalties. Now, it took an Olympic effort, but one dedicated climber became the first to conquer one of Britain's hardest ascents. Neil Gresham from London scrambled up the 60-foot cliff known as Forbidden Head. It took him a year's hard work and 6 attempts to be the first to conquer Forbidden Head without a safety rope. Now, with these daring visuals, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sonali Wanigabadage, wishing you a good night.